of every sort to the understanding of a fair inquirer than the great sign which God has given us, that Jesus Christ died and rose again from the dead, which is proclaimed in the Word of God. No man ever said that he would die and come back from the dead as Jesus Christ did. Now, some mention about the many versions of the Bible. Really, that's an incorrect statement. There is only one version of the Bible. There are many translations. Our scholars argue constantly over varied translations. King James Version, as we use that term, as I've mentioned incorrectly, is really a translation. Others have been put out. They were critical of the King James, even to the point of laboring incessantly to derive the Old Testament from the Hebrew in which it was written, minus a few verses in Aramaic, and the New Testament in Greek. Translations, some are incorrect, we think. I personally like the King James. However, the Quran has been translated as well into many languages. There have been different translations of the Quran in English, in South Africa, and Mr. Deedat can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was 1978, the Quran, one particular translation was released that was argued over and I think demanded that it be pulled from the market. So, the scholars of the Quran have the same problem of trying to pull one language over into another that we have in Christendom. It's not easy. In some languages, there is even no word for what you are trying to say. So it's very, very difficult to at times come up with the perfect word to fit what was written in the ancient Hebrew or the ancient Greek, Koine Greek. There are some 24,000 manuscripts of the Word of God, of the New Testament alone, I should say, that dates back before 350 A.D. The original statement or signature or autograph of the Word of God does not exist. As I mentioned, the first one was printed on vellum or clay tablets some 3,500 years ago. They perished from overuse and from being put on material that had little lasting quality, at least not that long. But at any rate, some 24,000 copies have been made. And scholarship tells us, when it concerns the ancient books of antiquity, if at least 10 copies are in existence, you don't have to have the original to guarantee the original. And when one considers that there are 24,000 copies, and there are some variants in those copies, we admit. But basically the text is not changed. Now, there are some books, a number of them called the Apocrypha, that has not been included in Protestant Bibles. The Catholics included in theirs for reasons of their own. And the reason we do not include those so-called books in the Bible is simply because we believe they were not inspired. And when you start to study them, there are ample reasons to show why they aren't inspired. Now, Islam tells us that they believe in the Torah and the Injil. They will conclude they believe in the Torah and the Injil, but that this is not the Torah or the Injil, it is a corrupted text. And if it is a corrupted text, then our faith is vain. If it is a corrupted text, and this that I hold in my hand is not the Word of God, then multiplied multiplicities of multitudinous millions of Christians have believed in vain, lived in vain.